Field hockey kicks off A10 play by splitting a win and loss for the weekend. Hello, I'm Anna Gomez.
And I'm Dana Pecora. Both men's tennis and water polo send Villanova squads packing. Sorry, not really sorry though, Nova. You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. We've got all the deets on this season's field hockey team. Who are the key players? What are their strengths? And why is Dana featured in a field hockey play this week? We'll be breaking it all down.
We're also recapping the turnaround season for men's soccer, as they're now on a 3-game winning streak. Selena Beemack will be on desk later to talk about what they'll need to do this weekend to keep it up.
But first, let's take a look at our SportsLine top 3. Do you have a jingle, Dana? Number 1, that was awful. Men's soccer goalkeeper Mark Tobin has been named Soccer 6 Co-Defensive Player of the Week for his 1-2 punch performances against St. Peter's and Lafayette. Tobin stopped 7 shots in LaSalle's first win of the year in a 2-0 shutout against St. Peter's. In the 2-1 win against Lafayette, Tobin saved 3. The sophomore has a 1.0 goals against average, and icing on the cake, Tobin scored his second career shutout of the season against Penn on Wednesday when he stopped 4 shots on goal.
And number 2, after 6 years as a field hockey's assistant coach, Christina Foster is taking on a larger role as associate head coach next to head Michelle Salmi. Foster has been with the Explorers for 6 years, leading the team to 3 A10 tournament appearances and named 23 players to all conference teams. Foster said to Go Explorers, quote, "I'm excited to fulfill my responsibilities as associate head coach and continue contributing to the LaSalle field hockey program. Teaching and mentoring these young women is such a passion of mine, so I feel honored to be able to make a difference both on and off the field." Field hockey currently has a 4-2 record.
And number 3, the women's lacrosse team announced their fall ball schedule for this year, which features a number of tournaments, some of which will be at McCarthy Stadium and the Philly 5 weekend. The blue and gold kick off fall ball against Drexel on October 7th. LaSalle then hosts Lehigh, Long Island, Birmingham, Westchester, and for the first Oktoberfest of the year. Following that, the team plays in the annual Philly 5 tournament, where they will first face off against Villanova at 10:30 on October 22nd. The Explorers will compete in the final Oktoberfest tournament at McCarthy Stadium the following week. This tournament includes a A10 rival VCU along with Mount St. Mary and Lafayette.
And there you have it, our top 3 headlines of the week. Now let's really get into the recaps. It was a tough week for women's soccer team as they dropped 2 1-0 games against some tough opponents. The Explorers first dropped an overtime match at Delaware on September 15th, where they battled the Blue Hens to a very close result. LaSalle limited Delaware to 4 shots on goal over the match and gave up only 1 goal to the Blue Hens in the 93rd minute. After one day off, the Explorers were back on the pitch against the number 6 West Virginia Mountaineers. This game was a struggle for the Explorers, who allowed 28 shots and only taking 2 shots of their own, despite the domination by the Mountaineers. Explorers goalkeeper Larissa Zambelli allowed 1 goal on a penalty kick in the 20th minute. Unfortunately, the Explorers could not pull out a win this week and saw their record drop to 5-3-1 on the season.
Men's soccer secured their second straight win against Lafayette 2-1 on September 16th. The blue and gold offense started the game with a high energy and did not let up through the entirety of the game. Despite the downpour, veteran Matt Robinson managed to find the back of the net in the 47th minute. The goal marked Robinson's 3rd of the season. Kenny Lasseter added to LaSalle's success, scoring what would be the game-winning goal in the 72nd minute. Goalkeeper Mark Tobin preserved the Explorer win, allowing only 1 goal on 8 shots. And Matthias Patino and Soji Olayote each recorded an assist on the victory. The men returned to the pitch on September 20th to take on UPenn. Steven Silvestro has the coverage.
LaSalle's men's soccer team faced off against City 6 rival Penn on September 20th. The Explorers came out firing on all cylinders with 2 throw-ins by Zach Rutherford ending in the back of the net. First, in the 12th minute, Mike Liska takes it off the header from Johnny Ciarlante to notch it right past all Penn defenders and the goalie. Then again, about 10 minutes later, Matt Robinson gets a hold of the volley at the 18 and drives it to the back of the net. To seal the deal, in the second half, freshman standout Soji Alatoye splits the defenders into the box and nails one from 12 yards out to end the game 3-0. The Explorers are on fire with their third straight win. For SportsLine, I'm Steven Silvestro.
Volleyball had a tough weekend at the Colgate Invitational. The Explorers fought hard, but their dominant style of play did not last. Versus a tough defense provided by their opponents, the women were defeated by Stony Brook University 1-3. The match looked promising as the Explorers took the first set but ultimately dropped the next 3 to the Seawolves. The team was also defeated by Cornell in a close contest. The Explorers boasted 69 kills, but it was not enough to overcome a tough Cornell defense. Finally, the Blue and Gold were swept by the host school, Colgate. Samantha Graver, Riley Lowe, and Devin Cora each recorded 8 kills, but it was not enough and the Raiders took home the dub. The women enter conference play with a record of 9-6 on the season.
Going into A10 play for field hockey, we knew that this team was going to have to step it up competitively. In their first A10 game of the season, the Explorers versed Lock Haven in what has historically been a contentious head-to-head matchup, and it did not disappoint. Lock Haven scored the first, knocking back a goal at the 12th minute mark. And from there, even with valiant efforts, LaSalle struggled to catch up with a tight Lock Haven team. Now let's take a look at the footage. So LaSalle would successfully bring the ball downfield, but they did have trouble finding scoring opportunities. Defense would break down, and Emma Provost, goalkeeper, would she was wide open. But let's look at this. LaSalle was not going to let things go easy. Number 8, Logan O, you see that ball, it was a beauty. Riley Allen assisted that. And the team tied up the game with 4 minutes left in the first half. The second half was absolutely deadlocked. Both teams were struggling, and we were forced into overtime. I mean, that was the whole game. Now, this is the game-winning goal for Lock Haven. It happened so quickly, I genuinely did not get the goal, but you saw it, it happened. LaSalle drops to Lock Haven 2-1.
Yeah, and following that tough loss against Lock Haven, really heartbreaking, the Explorers followed up with another A10 game against St. Louis on that Sunday. Luckily, the Explorers were able to clinch their first conference win with a 2-0 shutout over the Billikens. Junior Meg Hita opened up the scoring as she recorded her first goal of the season with 5 minutes left to play in the first half. An insurance goal was added on by freshman Amber Blackshear, who also recorded her first collegiate goal as an Explorer, so congrats to Amber. The Blue and Gold currently stand with a 4-2 season record.
The men's and women's cross-country team traveled up to Iona College on September 15th for the Iona Meet of Champions. The men's team finished 6th overall in the meet. Senior Dylan Titan finished first for the Blue and Gold, placing 23rd overall in the 8K with just a time over 27 minutes. Behind him was freshman Luke Jarasakawai, who clocked in at 27 minutes and 30 seconds for a 27th place finish. Rounding out the top 5 were William Byrne, Daniel Kozagoff, and Patrick James. On the women's side, Grace Mancini finished first for the Explorers in the 5K with an 11th place finish, clocking in with a time just over 19 minutes. And behind her was Michelle Myland, who came in 26th overall. Other Explorer competitors included Aliana Powlett, Deirdre Gilmore, and Lexi Schiarto.
Men's tennis had a great showing in the 2-1 format tournament at the Villanova Invitational. In the blue tournament, LaSalle was represented by junior Francisco Mauri and the freshman from Russia. The two had a solid first-round win against Loyola of Maryland, but were defeated by the eventual co-champs Villanova in the second round. Going to the third round, the duo faced another Villanova team. The men put up a good fight, sending both single matches in super overtime, but ultimately they came up short. The duo went on to take 7th place out of the 15 teams fielded. For the white tournament, Explorers had senior Tomas Christian and freshman Connor Merrill, along with freshman duo Rogelio Gonzalez and Colin Lucius. Both teams started strong and went 2-1 in their games. They both advanced to the fifth place match, but did not compete, settling with both teams in fifth.
Men's water polo continued their rough start to the season this past weekend at the Bucknell Bison Invite. The Blue and Gold opened up the weekend against the nationally ranked number 16 Bison. Sophomore Jeff Brady opened the game with a quick goal, but the Bison retaliated, scoring 11 consecutive goals to take an 11-3 lead going into the half. Freshman Daniel DeMotor was the sole standout for the Explorers, recording 4 goals and a steal. LaSalle would then go on to lose their other 3 games the weekend, falling to Salem International, Johns Hopkins, and Gannon, and remain winless on the season.
Richmond dominated the field in women's golf Navy Invite September 16th and 17th. All 5 Explorers swung in the 3 rounds, and while they struggled to compete with the pack, we saw some individual improvements and all-around more confidence from this young team. Redshirt freshman Mary Bell Declan finished with the best individual score, tying at 48th with 248 in 3 rounds. Franca Hurtado finished with 255, and Rebecca Smith finished with 259. And that wraps it up for recaps. But before we go to take a break, let's take a look at what I chose as my top 3 plays of the week. So first we see Zach Rutherford. He's throwing the ball in, and then throws the ball in, and we see that Penn tries to clear it, doesn't work, ball's head button everywhere, and then finally finds its way to Matt Robinson, who volleys it in.
Beautiful.
So that was pretty beautiful. Now this is against Lehigh. We see Meg Keita receive the ball off a corner, and Lauren Leckneitner
nice.
finds the back of the cage. We see number 17 from Lehigh. Shout out to my baby sis, because that's who it is. Super cute. Yeah, so
This is fantastic. Dana is in here. She's so devoted to the athletic department. She's acting as a ball girl. But wait, is she actually doing her job as a ball girl? Dana?
It's pretty ironic because my sister, the play before was actually playing, and there's me sitting on the sidelines, not even doing my job. So,
You know, I mean,
it's fine. I was so worried about reporting on this game that the ball just happened to slip by me.
Caught up in the game that she decided not to actually do what she was doing there, which was actually get the balls from when they come out of bounds.
It's all right.
Anyway, it's fine. We're going to be talking a little bit more about field hockey when we come back, so stick around.
I see my friends out there getting waves. It's like, it's hard. It was a surprise to me when they told me I had MS. It's like, you sure?
Well, this is a virtual reality rig, and this is going to allow Steve to see and experience the waves that I ride.
Put that on your head. Whoa.
My name is Caitlin. I'm 6 years old. I like to go to the beach with my cousins. When I was a baby, I was very sick. And then I got a liver transplant from an organ donor. He saved my life.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Welcome back. All right, so right now we're going to get into some field hockey talk. We're going to break it down by player. First, we're going to start with Eileen Zwill. Eileen, I see her as their kind of secret weapon. You don't really hear a lot about her, but she plays one of the most pivotal roles on the field. She plays in the center of the field. She's a defensive midi. So she kind of plays more of a defensive role, but then she has her times where she's assisting on goals like we saw in the last game. She's so super talented, and she's important because we aren't scoring goals. That's not how we're winning. We're only winning by 1 or 2. So she's so important back there in that defense because something's got to, be keeping us afloat. And I really think, I just love her. She's awesome. She's a senior. Yeah, that's my little.
I mean, you saw up there, she has 7 career goals in her entire time at LaSalle, but she's such an important force in the midfield. I mean, that ball, it makes it up to the forwards when it gets up there.
Yeah.
It makes it up to be able to make those goals because Zwill's on the field.
She's so smart. She makes plays. She knows where the ball needs to be at the time it needs to be. She looks up. She's so poised. Like when she makes her plays, she's not scrambling like, what am I going to do with the ball? She knows what she's doing. She's smart. She looks at the field. That's what I really love, and it's so important in the center of the field. And it's going to be really important when A10s, as they really dive into A10s, because again, they're going to be tougher components. You're going to need to be stronger in the defensive end. So,
Yeah, I agree. Let's get into Meg Kita.
yes.
Because I think Meg Kita is another really important mid-defense midfield person. I think she's just, again, I think she's great. You hear about her every now and then, but she has really started to step up in A10 play. She has a stellar game against St. Louis, and she earned that first goal of the season. But I think we also need to see more out of her on the offensive end.
Yeah,
I mean,
agree.
you have the leadership as well, and you have the leadership of the forwards, but Meg Kita, I think we can really see her step into herself. She's still got another year.
She's a junior now. She's got 2 years under her belt, just starting her third year. I don't think there's any reason why we can't continue to see this confidence in her kind of grow, and she can be that offensive force that we need her to be. Again, because they're not scoring many goals. I do like Kita. I really think she's a leader, and I think she can, be really important to us come conference play.
And she does really have that important defensive strength.
Yeah.
That, can, in fact, she has held things down and back in the net. So that's good to see.
Yes. So, Provost, their new goalie, their new starting goalie. So this is tough because she's replacing Rachel Hartman, who, love of our lives, she was just a powerhouse. She was so good for the Explorers last year. So Provost is in here, and she is doing a great job. Like, you really can't say that she's, dropping the ball when it comes to, not actually dropping the ball, but we can't really say that she's not doing her job. She's had the shutouts. She's stepping up in the ways that, we were worried about. We were worried, like, what are we going to do without Rachel? She's only a sophomore, but I think she's gaining great experience. I think she's got so much potential.
And like you said, she is a sophomore, and she is stepping up where she needs to be. We do have another freshman goalkeeper, but seeing Provost really be able to hold things down. I mean, we're going to talk a little in a couple minutes about our gaps in defense. She's held it down, especially in some of these high offensive games. I mean, you talk about even Lockhaven. Lockhaven was a tough game. Yeah. Ball State. What was the other one?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. That was.
Yeah.
It was just an offensive game day for those teams, and Provost has really been able to hold her own in the net.
You can tell she's confident. When you go there, she's vocal. You can hear her. You can hear her more than you can hear anybody else. And that's what you need in a goalie. You need your goaltender to be vocal, to talk to their defense, because they can see, at the end of the day, they can see everything that's going on the field. So to have that confidence that she is so vocal is so important.
And I as a goalkeeper, Rachel Hartman, she knew when to get aggressive and knew when to not get aggressive and hang back. And we're seeing Provost really play around with that. She can step up and get aggressive, and then all of a sudden she'll move back and try and let the defensive team actually do and sweep the ball up and bring it back down to midfield.
Yeah.
But you're seeing those growing pains happen. You're seeing her make decisions on the spot, and it is actually really interesting to watch her development.
Yeah. I think she's really going to step up big for us coming into conference play. So, not the trouble spot, but we're not scoring goals. So obviously there's, kind of that lack going on with our offense. We're creating opportunities, and specifically Kendall Kreider and Jess Hoffman. They're the seniors. They're the leaders up in that offense. They are scrappy players, both of them. They make opportunities. They cut to balls, Kendall, I think, has gotten carded every game, which is a great thing because she's aggressive. She goes for it, but they just aren't scoring. And it's hard because these are two really talented forwards who are, giving so much opportunity, but they just can't seem to finish. So
it is so frustrating to see that ball. And watching that Lockhaven game, it was just getting swept up by Lockhaven defense.
Yeah.
It would come into the hands of Kreider and Hoffman, and it would just they would lose it and they'd fight to get it back, but it was not ever working out in their favor. They could never bring it back to center ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely tough. They need to step up. You know, they are those leaders. They are those seniors. I get that they have, you know, kind of a couple underclassmen, sophomores playing, just trying to fill in these shoes, but they need to be definitely the leaders up in that offense because defense is doing a great job. But again, we're only winning games 1-0, 2-0. It's going to be tough when A10s come around. And that leads us to another problem area, or the corner plays. And I don't know. Don't even know how many times I counted corner plays in these games, and none of them end up. We saw one in Lehigh, but they rarely end up even getting a shot on goal, let alone scoring. I mean, a lot of these times we're not even getting these shots on goals, and we are getting so many opportunities and just not taking advantage. And in field hockey, corner plays are an offensive team's best friend. Like, it's your advantage. This is when you score.
It's so frustrating to see, and I was talking to someone who really didn't know much about field hockey, and they were like, what is the point of corner shots? And I was like,
to score.
It's to actually give the offense a chance to get into the center and score.
Yeah.
But we couldn't have been able to tell from the games that we've been watching.
Yeah.
With that
it hurts.
said,
Yeah.
it
hurts to watch.
It's absolutely frustrating. Can we look at some of the footage for that? I mean, we're going to see just some balls just getting absolutely swept up.
Yeah, like Lockhaven just stepping right up. That can't happen.
It's really frustrating because you look at what other teams have been doing with their offense, and you can see the complexities of the play. You can see them communicating, and maybe it's because we're just not playing the right teams. They're not familiar. We did just have a coaching change, so we knew that this team was in transition, or at least transitioning a bit. And this was, in fact, the first A10 play of the season, so we do have to take that into account. I mean, it's a completely different game. But
these are also the basics, you know, stepping up on balls, running to the ball, not standing behind a defender, waiting for the ball to get to you. That's basic field hockey.
Yeah.
You know, those are things that when you're playing in the A10s, they aren't going to flag. They're not going to get you the win. So hopefully we can see them, you know, step up.
Now let's change the tone a bit. We are still going to be a bit critical of defense. But,
We love them.
I mean, I'm excited to see this defense actually do step up because we did just highlight Kita. We did just highlight Zwill. So we do have these really great players to actually step up and be able to make some good scoring. I'm excited to see and even hold down offense when it needs to. I mean, we did just rag on them, but we are, in fact, really excited for them.
We love them. We think there's so much opportunity there. We really love them.
So field hockey versus Davidson on Friday, September 22nd in their third A10 match of the season against Davidson College. When we come back, we've rescued her from the annals of the history department, but to return to SportsLine desk once again, we're welcoming, that's right, Selena Bemak back on the desk to give us the lowdown on men's soccer versus Hartwick. Stay tuned. Welcome back. There is plenty of LaSalle sports action this upcoming week, so let us welcome Selena Bemak for this week's Explorer Report. Selena?
Thanks, Anna. So for this week's Explorer Report, the men's soccer team faces off against Hartwick College at home on Saturday, September 23rd. Going into this game, men's soccer will be riding a 3-game winning streak, but the Hartwick Hawks are also coming in with a 3-game win streak. Their season record currently sits at 4-3, while the Explorers have a 3-4 record. A key player for the blue and gold in this game is sophomore goalkeeper Matt Tobin. Tobin was recently named as the Soccer 6 Co-Defensive Player of the Week after boasting 7 saves and a shutout against St. Peter's on September 13th. He earned an additional 3 saves in LaSalle's win against Lafayette and 4 more in their shutout win against Penn. The Explorers have been scoring well as of late, so if Tobin continues to make great defensive plays, then the blue and gold have a real shot at winning this game. One key to the game is that the Explorers have home field advantage. This could be essential because the Hawks have only played 1 away game, which resulted in a loss. LaSalle also plays their best at home as they currently maintain a 3-1 record at McCarthy Stadium this season. Hopefully the blue and gold can pull out a win.
Now, we are at a 3-game winning streak, as you said. This is, I mean, we have some real momentum going into this game.
Yeah. How about that
I don't think
Penn
we.
win?
I know. That 3-0 shutout win against Penn.
Who thought that was gonna happen?
Yeah, I mean, men's soccer did not start out with a great season. So the fact that we have this momentum happening, and I don't think I've ever even heard of what is it,
Hartwick College.
Hartwick.
Yeah, Hartwick
I don't think
College.
we've ever played them. So this is going to be a brand new ball game for men's soccer and for us here on SportsLine as well.
Yes. Which means another team for the Explorers to beat.
And you know, men's soccer started out 0-4, and then they just gained their momentum. Now they won the last 3 games, so now they sit at 3-4. So they win this game, and they'll be at 500, and they can keep winning.
That's very true.
That's exciting.
And you can also just see the energy change. When you'd see the men's soccer players walking around campus, you knew that they were not happy with the way that things were going. Now, I mean, they're jumping around in class. It's actually really fun to watch. Anyway, that just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage and keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting GoExplorers.com or check out this week's edition of the Collegian.
Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV and on Twitter at SportsLineLTV. We welcome you to send us your thoughts and suggestions there.
For Isaiah, Selena, and our SportsLine team, I'm Anna Gomez.
And I'm Data Pecora. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you at the game.